Tuesday edition of GRS Thursday. My distinct pleasure to introduce today's speaker, Mr. Philip Morganelli. Just in case you guys are wondering, Phil's GRS was intended to be scheduled. It was scheduled on Thursday, and recently was moved 2 days ahead here until Tuesday. Which, knowing Phil now for a year and a half, I can honestly say is the first time that Phil's ever been characterized as being ahead of his time. In a lot of ways, he filled a throwback to a bygone era. This manifests itself in a lot of ways. Some of them are small, some of them are much more obvious. I'll just give you a couple examples. First of all, Phil's the only guy I know who insists on keeping his laboratory notebook with a refillable India ink fountain pen. He's also the only guy I know who insists on calculating the molecular weight of every compound he makes with pen and paper and a periodic table. And he's also the only guy I know who walks around with one of those lined-up pocket watches that you keep in your top breast pocket. Not to mention the fact that I don't know anyone else who even has a breast pocket. Which, of course, opens another can of worms, that being Phil's distinctive wardrobe. His clothing could be probably best described as kind of a ragtag collection of rags and garments. Secondhand stores and homeless giveaways all across the Bay Area. And it's this fact in particular, the fact that Phil's clothing is mostly composed of giveaways and basically the refuse from the closets of 70-year-old and 80-year-old men. To this fact that most of his lab mates attribute the peculiar and very distinctive geriatric odor that seems to That being said, we're still kind of working on identifying the source of an equally offensive fourth. In terms of biographical data, Phil was born in Van Nuys, California. He was raised in the Los Angeles area until he was in junior high, at which point he moved up to the Bay Area, actually to Walnut Creek, where he attended high school, and subsequently attended San Francisco State University. Shortly after graduation, he came here to the chemistry department and now works in the cost group in lab 609 with the other labs there. Being that Phil is, I guess, a California boy born and raised, that fact pretty much contradicts every preconceived notion that I, as a Midwesterner, ever had about California and coming here. First and foremost, you could hardly say that he's stylish. And second of all, anybody you ask who's ever seen him throw a wiffle ball can attest to the fact that he has absolutely no athletic talent whatsoever. It's really quite comical. I'm sorry about that. But that's not to say, given this lack of athletic talent, it's not to say, however, that he hasn't found other outlets for his rather competitive nature, right? And in fact, he's kind of, I guess you could call a maestro of one of the less appreciated artistic forms, that being gluttonous, competitive overeating. Phil's a master. And a couple of instances come to mind. In particular, there's one event where he was locked in pitched battle with another worthy adversary, it turns out, over a bowl of chicken McNuggets. In this competition, Phil was able to eat a whopping 76 chicken McNuggets in a single sitting. Perhaps even more surprisingly is the fact that the competition actually ended in a tie. Because on account of the fact that both contestants' kidneys began to ache too. There's another instance where Phil, not to be outdone, went to a Sizzler in the local area, actually with a couple people from the department, and engaged in another one of these eating contests. And to adequately judge the outcome of this eating competition, Phil and friends actually brought with them a portable scale. Because everything that there was stuff down there fell effective. Anyway, so in this particular competition, Phil was not to be outdone. and he went for it with the gusto, and it turns out that he was able to pack down 5.5 pounds of Sizzler in a single hit. And of course, the victory in this case was not without its cost. It turns out that it was at least, I don't know, like 3 days and 2/3 of a bowel movement later that Phil was actually well enough to get out of bed. So, there's a lot more that could be said about Phil, including the peculiar way that he likes to speak and the weird intonation that he has, but we'll leave that for I'd like to make one comment that